Hi, I'm Tori Bowman. A spinal cord injury often means there's much to consider when it comes to assistive devices and modifications to your home. The more mobile you become, the better your physical and mental well-being and overall quality of life. But accessing the equipment you need to live your life can be overwhelming and also a serious financial challenge. On this episode of Underestimated, presented by Oatley Vigman, personal injury lawyers, and brought to you by Spinal Cord Injury Ontario, I sit down with Sherry Upper, one of SCIO's regional service coordinators, to discuss the impact of equipment and funding and how we support people in living at home in the community. Oda meets with Mihi Kim, a recipient of our Enhancing Independence program. She will share the equipment that has transformed her life. And I visit with Jim Miller in Tiny Township and see the assistive devices that have made a difference in his life. Sherry Upper is one of SCIO's regional service coordinators and has been working with people with disabilities for 25 years. She now co-facilitates the Family Connections program and supports clients in York Region and Muskoka. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you for having me, Tori.
So when you're supporting someone with an equipment goal, what does that look like?
It looks like a number of factors. The first is establishing what equipment do they need. So typically we'll do that in consultation with their occupational therapist and physiotherapist. And then it's obtaining the quotes for the equipment to know how much we're looking for. And then it's determining what funding sources we can approach, because depending on the type of equipment and where you live is going to determine, in terms of my role, where I can look for funding for clients.
And how long does that process typically take? Or what would be the range?
The process really varies. It's not typically very quick unless it's applying to our own internal funding program. We have a very quick turnaround time for that program, but we are a funder of last resort. So some processes, a client I'm working with right now, we started her wheelchair funding application back in March, and I'm still so close to getting the last $313 that we need, but it's quite substantial because we've had to raise approximately $6,000 for her custom power wheelchair.
And what would be the range of what some of the most important pieces of equipment cost?
So with the wheelchairs, it's going to depend on whether or not you have a manual or a power, and then also what adaptations or extra features you might need. So I believe with a manual wheelchair, there's a government portion that will be funded up to 75%, and so a non-government portion could be anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000. And with the power wheelchairs, we're looking, I would say, a minimum of $3,000, and I've seen some chairs as expensive. The non-government portion is $10,000 to $15,000 because of the adaptations they need to make for that. Wow.
And what about other, inside the home or the vehicle?
Those modifications, vehicles can cost, to get an adapted vehicle, $60,000 to $80,000. Home modifications, depending on what you need to modify, your bathroom and how much, if you need to knock out walls, put a wheel-in shower, can be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to $25,000. Ramps, if you need to build, can be around $5,000, or what we call a platform lift to get in and out of the home can be $8,000 to $11,000. So everything comes with a very substantial dollar tag.
And why is it so important?
It's the most important thing for me when I work with clients is thinking about what, as you say, what's so important or what's most important is the mobility. So the wheelchair, because without a wheelchair, a client can't get around, whether it be in their home to access the rooms they need for daily activities, or in their community to access doctor's appointments, work, friends, socializing, getting back into the business of living, which is what our organization is all about. Mm-hmm. And then the other pieces of equipment, like a hospital bed that people might need, well, we all need some place to sleep, right? Mm-hmm. World looks different on a good night's sleep. We all need to be able to toilet, to go to the bathroom, so we might need a commode chair. We all need to be able to bathe. We all want to bathe to feel like a human being, so we might need an adaptive device in order to facilitate safe and independent bathing. So there's not just one piece of equipment, there's multiple pieces that matter for clients.
And what's the biggest barrier that you see impacting the clients that you serve?
The biggest barrier is what I would call sort of equitable access to funding, because we have so many different funding programs across the province. I should say so many limited funding programs. So depending on you live, what geographical area, what's available to me in York might not be available in Simcoe County, which is north of me, or the Greater Toronto area, which is south of me. It really varies from area to area if you're looking at government funding, and then also criteria. Certainly, we want programs to be available for those who are most financially strapped, but we'll also work with moderate income families who don't qualify for any programs. And yes, they might have good jobs, but they didn't plan on needing to spend an extra $5, $10, $20, $30,000 because of an injury. So that's a group that's completely left out of our funding.
If you could change one thing about how the system currently works, what would it be?
It would be ensuring that there's more funding available. I feel that the government could step in to help fund on a more consistent basis things other than just mobility devices, because our ADP, or Assisted Devices program, is meant to fund basic and essential equipment. In this case, they say mobility, but to me, and I think it's fair to speak on my colleagues, we consider all the pieces of equipment that a client uses are essential, basic and essential.
What would be your advice to somebody who is maybe who has recently had a change in their mobility or sustained an injury, who needs equipment and doesn't quite know where to start?
I would definitely encourage them to reach out to our organization and to connect with the regional services coordinator in their area, because they're going to know what funding programs are available and what they might be able to apply to and help navigate that. And sometimes we can also be creative depending on the equipment and locating donated equipment. There's a huge market out there for donated equipment and organizing that. So that's another way to help cut down the costs.
What was one really successful creative solution that you were involved in recently that you could share?
I think it was just, it's really, it takes a village. So it's not focusing just on one funder organization, but being creative and coming together with multiple organizations and encouraging that communication as well. So certainly that falls within the realm of my role, is just helping to facilitate communication between funders, and how can we all work together when we're looking at high ticket items, and know that not one funder can necessarily absorb the cost, but working together. So certainly I've done that on many projects in terms of wheelchairs or beds or lifts or home modifications.
And when you were starting out as a social worker, first starting out in your career, would you ever have anticipated that equipment would be such a central and important piece of the work and the support that you're providing with people?
No. Honest answer is no. Part of that is because when I first started out in social work, the patient population I wanted to work with was different at the time, but it was just, I kind of stumbled into working into persons with disabilities and spinal cord injury, and then never looked back, because it's such a passion.
So for people that are watching at home, what do you want them to take away from this?
I think first and foremost that there is help out there to try and help navigate the system of funding, and that would be connecting with our organization. You can do that through our website, which is www.sciontario.org, and also that it's not completely hopeless. It may feel very overwhelming and insurmountable, but we can usually make a difference and help.
Vigman Personal Injury Lawyers are proud sponsors of Underestimated. If you need a personal injury lawyer, we can help. For more information, please visit oatleyvigman.com.
Well, my name is Jim Miller, and I used to own a transmission shop until I got hurt on February 2nd, 2014. Snowmobiling hit a rock and crushed T12 and been paralyzed ever since. We rented a two-bedroom condo at the old age home in Penetang. And I moved in there, which gave me the support if I needed it from the PSWs that were working on the other side, and there was a restaurant there you could eat, and they had a gym room, which I got to use, and that sort of stuff. I think that probably helped, because there was not so much other people in wheelchairs, but the older people were using the stuff, and then it gave you inspiration to do stuff yourself. When I got hurt and got out of rehab, 2 days later, my mother, she had a major stroke, and they let her out of the hospital a day or two after that and said she had to either go to a home or somebody had to look after her. So I had the 2-bedroom condo, so I moved her in there, and then when we come home, I remodeled, but then I was doing more stuff, cooking the meals and all that for her and making sure that she was looked after, therefore I was looked after. When I'm cooking her a healthy meal, I ate a healthy meal. The house has been extremely modified. I put a couple of ramps in, one outside, one inside, to get me up and down. I have a lift that lifts me up off the front porch into the main floor of the house. And I switched the house around. Most people have their kitchen and living room facing the street. I have mine facing the backyard for reasons I like to look at my backyard. The kitchen, they made the drawers half drawers underneath the counters in certain places, which allows me to get my knees underneath and I can wash dishes, prep vegetables, that sort of thing. The cupboard doors, they look like cupboard doors, but you open them and then there's a drawer inside, 2 drawers, so you can slide the stuff out and you don't have to get down your hands and knees to see what's in the back of the cupboard. I put a ramp down from my house into the backyard. I'm lucky enough that one of my sons used to lay uni stone and blocks, so he laid out some patio stones we had. Actually, these are patio stones out of the original patio that my parents had here, and we just saved them and reused them. And then I put my gardens up tight to that so I could reach my gardens, and they're all raised and only 32 inches wide so I can reach across them. And I added a set of weights. I added an incumbent bike, my standing frame, massage table, hot tub. I really wish people had access to the money they needed to get what they wanted and look after themselves. There's no one thing that I think everybody would want or want to have, but the one thing everybody needs is money. It's not cheap being a paraplegic. As myself, I've got all kinds of used stuff I help people out with if they need it. Yeah, probably shop around and don't give up. Like, you'll find what you need. The people I had helping me were all fairly good people and they all tried hard, but they definitely know how to spend your money. And you're going along because you don't know, well, yeah, if you say I need it, I need it. But then you find out you really didn't need it. Not always, but the odd time, so. Accessibility is not on everybody's mind that doesn't have any issues. The beach has always had an accessible mat down there, but it was just one run straight to the water. So I went over, I'm lucky the township office is right beside my house, so I went over to the township meeting and they introduced me as an accessibility expert, which I'm really not. But anyway, I told them what was going on and what I thought they should do. And they did most of what I asked, but it's definitely made it so more than one person can use the mat at once. Also, when I'm out riding my Baytech, if the sidewalks are all covered in gravel and stones because of the major rain, I call the township and they come and sweep it and make it good for us people to do. I had a group of people up a couple of years ago with Baytex, and we went for a ride and down to the fish and chip store and to Wyvale to the ice cream spot and took them around, and they all seemed to enjoy it because they're used to just riding in Toronto all the time, so it was very nice day. There are a lot of people that can advocate for themselves. They don't have the accessibility to get to where they got to go, or they may have speech impairments from their disability. Some people have brain injuries and they maybe not be able to focus all what they want to say. So for those people, I try to help out. Actually, I talked to the township last week about bathrooms because they have 2 spots that I seen with outdoor bathrooms, but no accessibility. Now, I did drive by the one the end of last week, and I see there was an accessibility bathroom in there now. But they'd have 2 bathrooms and no accessibility bathrooms, so I'm trying to talk them in. The first one's accessible, the second one can be a walk-in. We'll see if I've made it work.
Little over 30 years ago, I had a car accident, and my son was in the car as well. But thank God he was okay, and I became a quadriplegic. Yeah.
When you transitioned from being in the rehab center to back home, what was the biggest help in your transition after an accident like that?
I would just stay at home. I was so afraid of going out. And basically, I spent a lot of time just in bed, at home. Only when I moved here, I see other people in a wheelchair, they're going out, taking a bus. It took 1 year for me to get some courage, and then I take the bus. Yeah, but after that, oh my God, I'm always out going shopping or having some coffee out there, yeah. Seeing other people in a wheelchair like me and doing all those kinds of things and encouraged me to do the same thing. Yeah. I think when I came home, I had a contact with some staff at the rehab center, the OT and some nurses, and doctors as well. So every time I got into some trouble, the questions, I can always call them, and then they will be there for me, answering all the questions that I ask. My son was about 3.5 years old at that time, very young. And we used to go outside together. There was a McDonald's near my mom's house. So with my mom, we'll go to the McDonald's, and it took us anywhere. And when my son was deliver newspaper, I'll go out with him, with mom, 3 of us, delivering together. Yeah, so nice. It's very important. Without that, I cannot live for another day. It is tilting, it has to be tilting, very important. I get dizzy very easily. Mm-hmm. When I feel dizzy, I'm just gonna tilt all the way back, and I stay there for a while. Otherwise, I may faint if I keep sitting upright. Mm-hmm. So that's tilting is important, very important for me.
How often do you have to tilt?
Depends on the day. But sometimes I have to tilt and stay there for a long, long time. I don't know why. Sometimes I'm so dizzy.
Yeah, it's just the quadriplegia thing, right?
Yeah. Even the commotion before, my commotion didn't tilt. So I'm just there sitting there, I'm so dizzy. a lot of times I don't know what to do, and then caregiver trying to help me, but it's really hard. When I got the gel pad, I was just so happy because inside the gel, when you use it for many years, it starts to come out. It'll stick to your body and everything. So when I got that, I was just so happy. Yeah, so I know that I don't have to worry about it for many years. And also, I have a trapeze over the bed that without it, I'm just so helpless. That's helping me a lot. Yeah, it's a tiny triangle, but yeah, with that, I can be more independent in bed. Without the Roho air cushion, I'll have a lot of pressure sore. I don't think I can survive another month. So the pressure sore is going to be really bad. So having a proper bed is very important because I spend a lot of time in bed. So that is probably, I would say, as important as the chair.
Yeah.
I would say. This is the Roho mattress, which is very important for the preventing the pressure sore.
Mm-hmm.
Getting equipment, I think they shouldn't wait until the end because just now too, I've used this one more than close to 11 years. Sometimes my charger is not charging, and then in the morning I have to go out to see my doctor, and then I almost have a heart attack. I said, oh my God, I should have applied before.
Right.
I tend to wait until the end. Everything's falling apart, and I start to get the pressure sore, and then can't even charge. So I like to say to people, just apply for the funding before everything falls apart. For the wheelchair, I think last year, in the fall, that's the time we applied. Only last week, I got the email for all the funding is completed. So it takes that long. Yeah. So 8, 9, it could be about a year to get all the funding. Yeah. Sherry is from CPA. She's a social worker, and then actually, whenever I need the equipment, I call her and ask for help. So she's been there for helping me, applying for this and that, and then trying to get the equipment that I need. Yeah, all these many years.
So that's an important part of the process for you to contact the community service providers? Do you think you could do it by yourself?
No, not even with OT. No, we need Sherry. Yeah. So her job in my life is very important to that as well. Yeah. The new wheelchair is about $20,000.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. So we have to come up with about $6,000. So Sherry applied many different kinds of places. Yeah. So about $6,000 we got. That's 25%.
So the cost of the equipment is not very accessible.
No. I get emotional. I am so grateful. I'm just so thankful. Really thankful. Every time when I get the air mattress through Sherry's help, honestly, when I got that delivered, I had the tears in my eyes. I was that happy. I know that I won't have a pressure sore for a while. For disabled people, The equipment that I mentioned are very important. Without all those things, I cannot live for maybe for a few days, more than a few days, because without wheelchair, without my proper bed, without my commotion, what can I do? I am just so helpless. I have a lot of problems with the pressure sore and everything else, and won't last. Yeah, so that's why it's so important. And without the wheelchair, take me outside and be independent. That's not even a life. I can't live my life. But with this power wheelchair, I can be anywhere.
As you explore the range of assistive devices that best suit your needs, the issue of cost will also play a role. The Assistive Devices program helps people in Ontario with long-term physical disabilities pay for customized equipment, such as wheelchairs and other mobility devices. You qualify for support if you're an Ontario resident, you have a valid health card, and you have a disability requiring the equipment or supplies for 6 months or longer. I want to thank all of our guests for sharing their stories and inviting us into their homes. To learn more about our show, visit rogerstv.com/underestimated or visit courtree.com. I'm Tori Bowman. See you next time.